This year has been by far Jameson Williams' most productive and successful year in his short NFL career. However, though, the receiver just hit another bump in the road as now he's facing more action from the NFL. We're going to talk about it, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. My friends, this is just going to be me sitting here talking with y'all. I don't have any show notes. There's no research. There's really no need for any research or show notes. Because this is a conversation that doesn't require that. Rather, this is an episode that requires clear thinking, and it requires the ability to understand what this situation truly is, what it truly means, and putting it in the proper perspective. So this is one of those times where it's like, listen, research is not going to be what we need for this conversation. It's the ability to think clearly and rationally. Now, what situation am I talking about? Well, obviously, at this point, everybody's heard about it, and if you clicked on the video, obviously you know exactly what I'm referring to. It was announced late last night, like super freaking late. I think it was like 11:15, 11:30 when the news came out, that Jameson Williams was going to be suspended by the NFL for 2 games for using performance-enhancing, substances. He had violated the policy on performance-enhancing substances, and that he was going to get a 2-game suspension for. Now, I'm going to say this right now. My first initial reaction when I saw the news that he was going to be suspended for 2 games was, well, that kind of sucks. It's not good news at all, but all things considered, it could be a hell of a lot worse. Let's understand something here, folks. We've had guys that have gotten suspended multiple times, and they have been suspended for, different kinds of things and for different lengths of time. Whether it's been 1 game, whether it's been multiple games, a whole season, doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that Jameson Williams getting, busted in this case for using performance-enhancing substances is not something I'm really going to get all worked up about. And here's the reason why. First and foremost here, we have to understand that, at least from my perspective, there have been multiple times where, various players, they have, supposedly popped hot because they had some sort of like performance-enhancing substance in their, body, and they're like, I don't even know how that got there. Now, you can do one of 2 things with that statement. You can either say, well, I believe the player, or I think that, they're just blowing wind and, they're just covering their tracks. And it's entirely possible that they are. But here's what I do know. When it comes to the NFL has been pretty damn, spot on about making sure players don't use that stuff. And considering the fact that Jameson Williams, let's just call it for what it is. What exactly would he need a performance-enhancing substance for? The guy freaking runs like a damn gazelle. And there's no such thing as a performance-enhancing substance out there that's going to make him a better wide receiver as far as catching passes. So, the only thing I could possibly see him using it for would be to gain more speed. But the guy's already one of the fastest, if not the fastest guy in the NFL. So, for me, it makes just literally no sense that Jameson Williams would be using something like this. So that's where I'm like, okay, here. It sucks that, obviously this happened. Because let's think about this, folks. Is it possible that Jameson Williams deliberately was taking a performance-enhancing substance? Yeah, it's possible. But when you take a look at it from the perspective that I just gave, what the hell would he need it for? So then you have to fall back on this other prospect. Is it entirely possible that he took something that he didn't think, was going to have anything? Could have been, another supplement that was not, at least, on face value, considered to have any of those things in it. Or maybe he ate some sort of food or had some sort of whatever that, hey, at face value, based upon what he saw, based upon what he was told, based upon the information that was on, whatever packet, label, whatever, it didn't look like it was going to be a problem. The reason I'm saying that is because, believe it or not, folks, that does happen. I'm not saying it happens all the time, and I sure as hell am not saying that that's the standard. Because, again, we should at least consider the fact that, hey, this could have been done deliberately. But, again, like I'm saying, when it comes to Jameson Williams, I just don't see a reason as to why he would need them. Because, again, there's no such thing as a performance-enhancing substance that's going to allow you to catch the football better. The only thing that I can think of that would have done that would have been Stickum. And Stickum has been freaking, banned since the 1970s because Fred Biletnikoff literally used it all over his damn body. So it's like, okay, really can't, go with that thought process. So I'm having a hard time looking at this as if it's something that Jameson Williams deliberately did. And the reason why I'm literally fighting so hard and, pushing this point so extravagantly and thoroughly is because I already know this is happening. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on Facebook. There are people that are already once again coming out and they are just going after Jameson Williams because they're like, oh my God, this kid cannot seem to get his life right. Once again, he's in trouble. Once again, he's being suspended. Once again, he is showing that he cannot keep himself, keep his nose clean in essence. And it's like, wait a minute here, folks. Time out. Time out. Back the hell up. Like I said, there's no concrete proof one way or the other that Jameson Williams deliberately did this, took performance-enhancing substances, performance-enhancing drugs. There's no proof that he did that deliberately or not. All we know is that he came up positive on a test. Well, here's the thing. If you go with my logic of the situation, it just doesn't make any sense why he would take it. Because I'm going to deliberately ask this question to whoever watches this episode, whoever wants to, chime in and give some, opinion. What exactly could he take a performance-enhancing drug for? He doesn't really need it to get faster. Wide receivers are not expected to be strong. They're expected to be fast. They're expected to be nimble. So again, I just don't see the value for him in taking that stuff. So then, at that point then, you're talking about this being another sort of accident, or you're talking about it being wrong time, wrong place kind of thing. Because, let's put this in perspective, folks. Go back to the suspension he had last year with the freaking gambling suspension. That wasn't because he did anything wrong as far as gambling on NFL games. What Jameson Williams did was perfectly legal in terms of the United States. He's of the age to gamble. He was able to gamble on something that was considered of a legal thing. He was gambling on college basketball games. Where the rub came in is that he was supposedly doing it on team facility property. Now, what exactly did that entail? We still haven't really figured that out yet, but from what the reports were at the time is that supposedly he was in a parking lot and that was considered on the property of the team facility, which again, that's a massive freaking gray area because it's like, really? We're going to include the property to be the parking lot? Most people consider the property of the freaking facility to be as soon as you walk in the doors. Maybe the training ground like a practice field or something. But the parking lot? No, that's not typically something that most people think of because a parking lot is open to the public. It's not only open to people that work with the organization, trainers, people that are part of, the upper management, all that stuff. So, massive gray area there. And the reason why there was such a gray area is because, as the NFL themselves admitted, because a lot of players came back on them, it wasn't properly explained thoroughly enough so that everyone knew what was going on. Because afterwards, there was I think there was a report that came out 75 to 80% of NFL players didn't fully know the rules in regards to that whole thing. So it's okay. In that case, Jameson Williams was just, you're in this massive gray area and you're going to be the one that's going to kind of just, get the slap on a wrist and be made an example of, along with all the others that actually, did do stupid stuff like gambling on NFL games. who actually deserved to get suspended. So, okay, we have that incident. Now we're looking at this one right here. 2-game suspension supposedly for him having taken performance-enhancing drugs or substances. Again, I'm of the mindset that it makes no sense for him to take it, so I think it was an accidental thing. I think he probably took something that he didn't think or suspect was going to have anything in it, and then, hey, it does, it comes up on a test, sorry about your bad luck, but the test reads positive, you're going to get suspended for it. That's what I'm thinking's happening here. And if you look at it from that perspective, there's absolutely no reason why fans should be jumping on this young man. Think about it, folks. Dan Campbell has been nothing but extremely high of praise for Jameson Williams. From freaking, minicamp to training camp, preseason, all throughout. He's been extremely high in complimentary of Jameson Williams, his work ethic, his increased maturity. It's like, listen, folks, we as fans do not need to be out here as judge, jury, and executioner. We don't even know all the full story and facts about why he freaking got popped positive on this. But let's put it in perspective here. I think I just read this from, Justin Rogers. He said that on 97.1 The Ticket, Dan Campbell was asked about the situation, and according to him, he's not even heard anything official yet from the NFL. Now, I'm pretty confident that something official will be handed out later because there's no reason to suspect that, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, and Tom Pelissero are all of a sudden going to start pulling out false news and whatever. It obviously came from somewhere reliable and credible. But my whole point is this, folks. We're talking about a 2-game suspension here. I'm not really too worried about that. Even if you want to go and get all your freaking feathers up, you want to get your freaking knickers up, I don't care. 2-game suspension's not that bad. It does suck, but it's not that bad. Let's think about it, folks. What's our next game? Oh, we're playing against the Tennessee Titans, one of the worst teams in football. And we're going to be at home. I think we can manage that game pretty fine without JMO. Now, the game after that, when we're going to be playing, Green Bay in Green Bay, that's going to be a bit of a different story. We'll have to see how that one pans out. But again, we're talking about a 2-game suspension here. That's not even possibly the worst that it could have possibly been for Jameson Williams. I'm just simply trying to give everybody an idea and a perspective of, listen, slow the hell down. Let's not do a repeat of what has happened throughout the entirety of this young man's very, very short career already. Ever since that kid has been drafted, that young man has been drafted to us, he has been getting nothing but freaking just hate from the media and been getting a whole bunch of nonsense from fans that just literally have no damn patience. I mean, when you're getting criticized and you're getting, all this nonsense because of the way your face looked when you got into your press conference, at that point, you're in trouble because everybody's going to criticize you and overhype and overthink, go over everything that you do with an extreme criticism, with an extreme, fine-tooth comb. And that's literally what's happened because if it wasn't about the draft and, how he looked when he got drafted and when he came into freaking Detroit, it was then about the freaking fireworks. It was about the Coney Island incident. Then it was about the gambling incident. Now it's about this. It's like, dude. First and foremost, most of those incidents, let the young man live his life. Let him do what he wants to do. He's earned that right. We do live in a free country. It is not up to us as, Lions fans to tell him how he can live his life. That's number one. Number two, like I said, it is of my opinion entirely that the 2 times that he's been suspended, or in this case about to be suspended, it was either one, wrong place, wrong time, or complete accident. I don't think that Jameson Williams is doing anything deliberate to try and break rules. It's just like, hey, sometimes you just get caught up in a place or you get caught up in something and it's out of your control. That's why I'm trying to get people to understand here. Don't just start throwing daggers and darts and, going after him again when, one, we don't know all the facts, and two, a 2-game suspension is nothing to really get our freaking heckles all up about. You got players out there that are being suspended for 5, 6, 7, 8 games sometimes. 2 games, I can live with. Again, it's not the best thing in the world, but it could have been a lot worse. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to put this out there because I really feel like, There are some Lions fans that need to calm down, they need to step back, they need to breathe, they need to think rationally, and they need to take a look at this from all perspectives. But having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage y'all, please make sure you subscribe, but also make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. I also want to encourage y'all to share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can, so that way we can increase the spread of the channel, we can bring in new viewership, and that way the channel can continue to grow. Pardon me. And with that being said, whether you guys have been a long-time viewer since the very beginning or you just viewed me for the first time, I hope you all enjoyed the content, and I hope I gave you something new to think about. I also hope you all got something in your life that makes you happy and makes you smile. God bless, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the content, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.